What's up, traders? Matt from the Trade Brigade here doing a technical analysis on ticker symbol HOOD for Robinhood. Of course, that is the infamous broker that everyone uses. On the left-hand side, we are looking at the daily time frame, and on the right-hand side, the 30-minute intraday time frame. This one's very interesting. They did give us an earnings announcement after the bell today, so let's flip on the extended hour session and see what is going on with the number. So clearly a move lower, and the first thing I want to do is just say whenever your chart starts feeling a little bit overwhelming, if old levels aren't necessarily in play anymore, it doesn't hurt to just clear the drawing set and start from scratch, right? You can do that, and it's not the end of the world. You can still see the levels if you have a well-trained technical eye. So for now, let's focus on the gap at hand, right? We're clearly going to be opening on what looks to be a gap down. Let's, for round numbers' sake, say we open somewhere here around 45.50, and the pre-market low as of right now is 45.11. Let's now flip this off to clean up this look at least, and shift the attention to the daily time frame just to talk about the gap fade, gap fill frameworks that we use here on the channel. So the first thing we always have to be thinking about is the potential for a gap fill. So if we open here at the first white line, fail to take out the overnight low, and trade back up through the open, which again we know is 45.50 for the sake of today's video, then we're looking for the long up towards the gap fill area, 47.21. There's plenty of meat on the bone there for that trade to unfold. That's about a $2, even if you want to round down, call it a $1.50 trade. That's pretty good, right? That's certainly something that I would be interested in trading, right? So hood gap fill play would be as such. The other thing, of course, would be the gap and go, right? So what does that scenario look like? Well, if we open here, again, you're looking for a consolidation somewhere in this range, but never really violating that opening print, then you take the short underneath the pre-market low. That's obviously underneath 45.11. I'd argue for the sake of round numbers and psychological factors, wait for the break of 45, right? After that, you are looking for some downside, and flipping over to the trade tab, you can clearly see that it's hard to borrow via shares, but there is plenty of volume here on the options contract side of things. So decent way to go short inside of Hood. Robinhood, the brokerage, of course, betting against them. It's just kind of ironic, right? It's one of those things that feels kind of funny when you do it. So what are our targets after those numbers, which we have just mentioned? Let's shift the attention over to the 30-minute for upside, then we'll go to the daily for downside. So if we fill the gap here to 47.21 and continue, I would argue it's very clear here that the next major area to pay attention to is 49.50. You can see prior support, then turned resistance, 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 and then support when we were above it. So that strikes me as a very technical level. After that, to the upside, what do we see? Probably right in here, around 51.50, so about $2 higher up here. So again, split the difference, call it 51.60, 51.50. That general area of the chart should start to then act as resistance. You can also see a nice little shelf that we had built in here as resistance. So I really like that level as well. Those are upside targets on a major reversal from the gap down. If we gap and go lower, what do we know about the structure underneath us? Well, let's scrunch this up. We can clearly see there's not a whole lot, right? This very emotional move from the large breakout day in here. So, I would just pick out those areas of support. We have here 43.27, and then probably the high of the opening drive off of the IPO. That's 40.19. So those would be downside levels if we get that gap and go scenario. If you enjoyed today's update, if you enjoyed the framework that I've given you to trade gaps, let me know in the comment section or by giving the video a thumbs up. Don't forget our main channel is linked in the description, and all of that being said, I wish you a green trading week.